Hey guys, it's Senor, and I wanted to make an updated Harley Quinn cycle skips tutorial, the boss fight in 3-2. As you can see, I have a little paint diagram for the first part set up to kind of visualize the fight. And then I already kind of have it laid out, but I have it separated into 4 different quadrants. If you've taken some math courses, you'll probably be familiar with that. But from now on, I kind of want you to think of the fight as a 4-quadrant sort of boss fight. Alright, so a small little tidbit before I start, but depending on how many players you have connected while entering the fight, it actually changes Harley's initial positioning. So if you enter the fight with just player 1 connected, Harley will jump to quadrant 1 in the top right, and if you load the fight with both players connected, Harley will jump to quadrant 2 in the top left. Also, some recommendations for the fight. I recommend actually starting the fight with both players in, so she will be jumping to the top left every time. And I recommend having Robin on player 1 and Batman on player 2. Okay, so let's say Harley jumps in here on the top left, and you have both players in, so let me mark that with a red X. So Harley jumps in here at the top left, and you're going to have your player 1 Robin's going to spawn on the left, and then your player 2 as Batman is going to spawn on the right. And obviously both characters are just going to run towards them, or run towards Harley with both characters. And depending on which, nice arrow by the way, depending on which direction you chase her, clockwise or counterclockwise, she'll end up in a different spot. So if you chase her clockwise, so this way, she starts flipping this way, she will end up right over here, right on the in-between quadrant 2 and quadrant 3. And if you chase her counterclockwise, she will end up right here at the top, just between quadrant 1 and quadrant 2. Okay, I first want to talk about the general principles of Harley's AI, and for this example of where you chased her clockwise initially. So obviously you're going to have someone punch her, so let me draw in. So usually you want Batman to punch her because Robin has a faster punching animation for later to actually hit the cycle skip. So let's just say Batman punches her and Batman's right here. Harley's AI wants to jump furthest away from where your 2 players are positioned at the time of the punch. So let's just say Batman's punching her and Robin is chilling here in quadrant 2, right by the center of the pinwheel. Harley will always jump from, in this situation, to quadrant 4. So Harley will jump that way. And let's just say Robin instead was in quadrant... oopsies, pardon me. Let's just say Robin was in quadrant 3, then Harley would jump up to quadrant 1. It gets a little bit messy if you put, in this case scenario, if you put Robin in, say, quadrant 1 or 4. It gets a little bit messy with that, so I like to keep both players on the same side, like 2 and 3, 1 and 4, or 1 and 2, 3 and 4, kind of together depending on where Harley is. So this is how the first hit will work if you chase her clockwise. You'll have Batman hit punching her, and then you want Robin positioned either in quadrant 2 or quadrant 3. Alright, now I want to go over if you went the opposite way, so if you chased her counterclockwise and she ended up at the top of the pinwheel, the same principles are going to apply. So you want to punch her with Batman, so let's just say you punch her right there with Batman, and then you want to think about it in the quadrants again. So if you position Robin here, you want to position him in quadrant 1 or quadrant 2. So if you position him in quadrant 2 right here, Harley's going to jump over to quadrant 4, just because that's the farthest away from where both your AI are. And then if you position Robin in... let me erase that. Alright, and then if you position Robin in quadrant 1, then Harley will jump to quadrant 3. Alright, now I'll show you guys a gameplay example. First I'll do the counterclockwise chase. Position Robin quadrant 3. And easy as that. And now I'll show the counterclockwise chase. Position Robin in quadrant 1. Alright, back to the diagram, and I'm going to talk about the positioning for the second set of cycle skips, which would be after the Jack in the Boxes and when Harley jumps down from there. I'm going to talk about the positioning quickly of both characters. So for Robin, these are the positions that, by the way, that I use every single time. You could probably adjust them to do different quadrants to put her in the same spot every time, but these are my personal preferences. So first of all, I like Robin right here in the top left in quadrant 2, and then I like Batman a little bit further to the left and a little and lower in quadrant 3, so right about there. So you're going to be doing the batarang with Batman on the Jack in the Boxes, and when your characters are positioned here, the furthest quadrant away that Harley wants to go to is going to be quadrant 4, so she's going to drop here in quadrant 4, and when she drops there, you're going to want to, first, you're going to be jumping over with Robin, getting the first hit with Robin, and then because Batman positioned here in quadrant 3, generally when you're doing that first punch, if you do take a little bit of a step up with Batman, it'll make the jump across easier, but then she will always jump to quadrant 1 if you're standing, still in quadrant 3 with Batman. She'll jump over to quadrant 1, and then you're going to do your second jump over with Batman for the second hit. So she's going to go to quadrant 4, and then hit, and then jump up to quadrant 1 with Batman. Alright, I want to do some troubleshooting for the second set of cycle skips. Specifically for after the Robin punch, if you have Harley jumping not to quadrant 1, and let's just say for example she's jumping to quadrant 4 instead, she's jumping to quadrant 4 from quadrant 4, oh my goodness, quadrant 2 from quadrant 4, like this, after the Robin punch. That means your Batman positioning was too far to the right. And this one's a little more common, but if Harley is jumping from quadrant 4 to quadrant 3 instead, this one I get a lot more commonly. That means your Batman positioning is too far upward, so Batman probably is creeping into quadrant 2. Okay, so here's a gameplay example of the second set of cycle skips, and as a recommendation, doing the bataranging with Batman, because it gives Robin a little bit more leeway on his jump over. So I'll do this example real quick. Alright, and we're not going to go back to the diagram for the third set of cycle skips because it's the exact same concept as the second one. You're going to try to get Harley to the same 2 spots. But let me go to the game. And specifically for these batarangs here, for the first wave, I like to do Batman and Robin. And then I like to try to get 4 out of the 5 of them with Batman and Robin. There's sometimes you can accidentally target the 5th one. You have to be prepared to jump with Robin if you accidentally do. But generally you want to get it down to just one guy left, and then batarang him and just assume he's gonna die. Always just assume the death. See, I did the jump there, he didn't. Try it again. And now do the same exact thing as you did for the second set. Boom. Alright, now I'm gonna do a full fight gameplay example here. And then after this, I'll do a little bit of backups for if you miss a cycle skip. But here is the full fight. All the strats I just went for. We'll go for the clockwise start. Position Robin in quadrant 3, or 2, pardon me. Sometimes you might have to turn with Batman if your angle's not the best, so I have to do a little bit of an adjustment. A lot of guys survive that. Right. And just like that. Alright, back to the diagram one last time for backups. And in the first set of cycle skips, if you miss the punch, doesn't matter, you can just chase her around one more time. She'll get confused again immediately, so no need to back up the first set. For the second and the third set, depending on which punch you miss, whether it's the one with Robin or Batman, you'll do a different thing. So let's just say you miss the punch initially with Robin. It's actually faster to just chase her one time if it's the second set, or if it's the second set, and then 2 times if it's the third set. It's better just to chase her, get her confused at a specific spot, and then position your players appropriately. But if you happen to miss the punch with Batman, it's faster to do a on-the-fly backup. So in that second punch. So usually, let's just say you positioned everything right, and Harley was in the top right in quadrant 1, and you missed the punch with Batman. So if you chase her counterclockwise from here, she will end up doing the jump in quadrant 4, so 3 quadrants away from where you started. She'll jump right around where that X is, and she'll jump up into quadrant 2 if you position your players appropriately. And how you want to position them is you want to have Robin, so Batman will be the one chasing, and then you want Robin in the quadrant where she's going to jump from. So if you start in 1 and she goes, you'll know she'll jump in 4. You want to have Robin positioned at the pinwheel at 4, and then obviously Batman will be the one chasing her, so Batman will be like right here. And then you're going to jump up to quadrant 2. And then if you happen to do the opposite and you chase her clockwise, she's going to end up once again 3 quadrants away, so she's going to jump right about here in quadrant 2 and jump across into quadrant 4. So then you want to have Robin positioned here in quadrant 2, and then Batman will be right next to her. And then you're obviously going to be going for the jump and the punch with Robin. Alright, so I'm going to give a sort of 2-for-1 backups. If you, in the second set, I'll miss the first punch and show you the backup for that. That's very simple. And then on the on the third set, sorry, I'll do the on the fly backup. So let me just get it set up here. So in the first set, I'm going to pretend I missed this punch. Oh, I didn't get the punch off or something, or I didn't jump with Robin. So it's better at this point to just kind of chase her, let her jump once, chase her again, and then set it up like the first set of cycle skips, depending on where she gets confused. So I'm going to do set it up like this, and then you can get both hits like so. Okay, and now for the third set, and I'll show the on-the-fly backup, so... Oh. Let me try to make sure I get the first punch here. Which is... So let's say I get the first punch, and then I miss the second punch here. Oopsies. So now, since she's over there, I know she's going to jump right at the bottom here, so I'll position Robin appropriately, and do that on-the-fly backup.